It's 1998 in Budapest, Hungary. Andrew's father, Emery Andrew Tate Jr., is here to play at the chess tournament. Emery puts on a flawless performance against the Russian grandmaster and wins. But then, something scary happens. As he walks to the subway to catch a train back to his hotel, someone jumps and stabs him from behind in a brutal attack. The Russian grandmaster that Emery beat earlier this evening was an ex-KGB agent, which left him convinced that this was a hit by the KGB. This all sounds like a story out of a movie, so to verify this actually happened, I contacted Dr. Daim Shabazz, who wrote the book about Emery Tate's chess career. Daim confirms that Emery Tate Jr. indeed got jumped, stabbed, and that he even seen his scars. But then he also mentioned that many thought he was paranoid. He would often claim the KGB was tailing him. You might be wondering, where am I going with this? Well, I'm sure most of you already know, but Andrew's whole brand image is today somewhat surrounded by the idea that he is Morpheus, here to free people's minds from enslavement by the Matrix.
The Matrix is strong. The system which is designed to keep you as a slave is strong.
You are a slave, Neo.
Now this got me thinking, if Andrew's father was seriously suffering from paranoia and always felt someone was out to get him, how did this impact Andrew growing up? Could this somehow be linked to why Andrew has this huge obsession with fighting an invisible enemy he calls the Matrix?
To attack a system like this, you need to wait for an opportunity.
Throughout this episode, we will uncover the true origin behind Andrew's fight against the Matrix.
From a very, very young age, I just understood, and I don't know exactly where I got it from. I understood the world is a scam.
Or if it's all just a clever marketing campaign used to promote his course.
How much do you care about making money and how much do you care about waking people up?
That's a good question. When the camera's off, I'll tell you.
Turn it up.
To start things off, here's a quick recap into what we already established in the last episode.
Yeah, my father was, I believe, the best father on the planet. I had so much respect for him, and he was my superhero. I wanted to be like my dad. He set such a high standard in certain regards that I knew I couldn't just be some normal guy. I'd feel guilt. I'd feel dirty if I was just some normal dude. Like, I have to be fantastic.
So, in order to get a glimpse into Emery's state of mind, I've read and gone through all his Facebook posts, and to my surprise, I found a few that actually reflects he had somewhat of a paranoid attitude. Let me show you. Like this post, and on every street corner, death waits, followed by the comment underneath it, arm yourself cause no one else here will save you. I swear before God that you have to be James Bond to survive these motherfuckers. And in the post underneath it, he says that wearing hoodies is a security issue because it blocks your peripheral vision. But perhaps the most telling of them all comes from a Twitter post where he says, living in a state of paranoia and looking is dangerous to one's physical and mental health and also results in poor security. But Emery Tate Jr. was after all an ex-US Air Force sergeant with ties to the CIA. So perhaps the KGB was after him and he had legit reasons to feel threatened. Andrew has rarely mentioned anything negative about his father, but in this 5-hour interview with Patrick Bet-David did he for the first time open up about his father's darker sides, which lo and behold, paranoia comes up as being one of them.
Just everything you told him, he remembered. Everything. And that becomes a detriment because if you remember every number plate of every car around you, then you're in a car with the guy and he's like, last Thursday that car was beside us. Dad, was it? I don't know. Of course you don't know. You don't know, but I do know. That car was beside us next Thursday. Do you believe in coincidences? Like, well, maybe it is a coincidence. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. You can't argue with him because you don't know if he's like, well, you're not smart enough to remember all the number plates, son. So you just leave this to fucking me. And then you turn off the road because this dude might be following you.
And as the interview goes on, he opens up further.
My father got diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and I do believe he had it. Guns were pulled on him and go, you think that's gonna kill me? Shoot me, you fight. And he gets furious. Like, how dare you believe a weapon can kill him? He was fucking enraged. It's weird to be around a dude who's so big and so strong and also so smart, and you have to just accept second place all the time. And then you're arguing about number plates on some fucking Corolla from Thursday. You're just like...
Perhaps Andrew's distaste for authority started here, in a relationship with the paranoid and narcissistic father.
That's his world. If you believe you're being followed, you're effectively being followed. Like, what's the difference, right? So He was paranoid, but he was reacting to the reality he lived.
I thought it wasn't real. Your mind makes it real.
But if Emery's flaws caused Andrew to build up resentment towards authority, aka the Matrix, it would make more sense if he held a grudge against his father, which he clearly doesn't, so this can't be the full story. So in order to understand the origin behind Andrew's frustration with the Matrix, we have to go deeper. We ended the last episode around 2013. Andrew is 27, a two-time world kickboxing champion, and on his personal blog at the time he wrote, 2 world titles, 1 British title and 1 English title later, here I am, training hard, winning fights, still trying to become a somebody. Andrew had devoted his entire life to becoming a world kickboxing champion, and sure, he was well respected within the kickboxing scene, but it didn't help him break financially free. Both the Tate brothers had tried starting a series of different businesses between 2007 and 2013, but without much success.
So became entrepreneurs by just trial and error. Nothing works the first time.
He was now living paycheck to paycheck, and with the short career span of the fighting game, he was running out of time. It is possible that this could have led Andrew to build up some resentment. Surely, he had put in more work than most others his age, so maybe it was not entirely his fault that they had not achieved financial success. Maybe it was society's fault, the Matrix fault.
I could feel all these little triggers my whole life of the system trying to oppress me, and every single person I saw living the life I was aspiring to was outside of the system. So I always had an intrinsic understanding that the only way to truly get rich is to break the system in some degree.
At the time, Andrew is surely becoming desperate to make it.
There were times in my life where I went to fight a man for money, and I didn't give a shit if I lost and even woke up. Didn't give a fuck. I had nothing worth living for.
And we all know from a place of desperation, the temptation of taking shortcuts increases. If not legally, at least morally, which leads us to Andrew's breakthrough. Andrew has told many different variations of their webcam origin story, but I believe I found the first and most likely the true version from when he opened up about it in a webcam course he was selling back in 2017.
Oh, very short in my story how I kind of started my whole webcam business. I'll tell it again in detail here. I was fighting, had some money. I had 70,000 pounds in a safe in my bedroom, my house. I wanted to buy property in Thailand and move to Thailand. I needed 80,000, I was 10 grand short. And I thought I'd go to the casino and make 10, which was obviously, we all know how that story went.
He lost 30k and needed to find a way to make 40k quickly. Tristan is currently working a full-time sales job that is bringing home a steady paycheck that is supporting them both.
My brother's big break is when we started working in, I guess, well, let's call it adult entertainment. My brother discovered this when he was dating a girl who was kind of doing this on the side. The conversation he had with her was, oh, so you work at home? And she goes, no, I work at a studio. He said, why would you work at a studio? She goes, oh, I've got my kid at home and, you know, my parents are at home and the studio's got the best equipment and the best setup. And it's just a light bulb went off in Andrew's head.
And I was like, this might be some money. So I text all my girlfriends, I think it was 5 of them, text all 5, said, you're all coming here to live with me and work with me. None of them knew about each other. All 5 flew in, picked them all up. They're all sitting there. I sat them around the same table. And I was like, look, we're gonna start a webcam business. You're gonna stay, you're gonna live in London. I'm gonna look after you, and we're gonna get rich. Long story short, 3 left, 2 stayed. Those are my first 2 girls. And we started this little webcam business from my apartment. And it just grew and grew and grew.
The 2 girls Andrew convinced to stay started off as a duo under the nicknames Kissback Cobra and Rosie Boo Boo, which turned out to become very lucrative very fast. Andrew had now finally found a crack in the system, and he was ready to exploit as much of it as he possibly could. He worked every waking hour and was bringing in on average $1,500 a day from one girl only. Andrew quickly realized that by managing the text conversation himself, he could squeeze more money out of the men watching by making them fall in love with the girls. Andrew actively lured men into giving him their entire savings, based on the premise that they thought they were increasing their chances of meeting the girl they thought they were talking to, while in fact they were talking to Andrew the whole time.
You're not exploiting men because these men are happy with the interaction. A lot of these men are married. Wow. They've got a wife at home who doesn't fuck them. Yeah. They've got kids who don't respect them. And they're literally the only time they smile at all is when they get their laptop out and talk to this hot 19-year-old on the other side of the world. Yes. And it's sad, but it keeps them out of suicide. If these dudes are gonna go online and send their money away, which they're gonna do, they may as well send it to me.
Because who else are you going to send it to someone else?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's just how I view it. I'm not
They're
causing it
doing
to
it,
happen.
yeah.
It's happened already.
Yeah.
And if I stop, it's still going to happen.
Yep,
So
that's right.
it is what it is.
Andrew and Tristan ripped people off and openly admitted it. Tristan told the Sunday Mirror, "It's all a big scam, and it's their problem, not mine." From this angle, the brothers' sort of funny, charming, gentleman's approach certainly fades, and a more callous, desperate, and ruthless side emerges. But perhaps after getting punched for a living and facing a series of failed businesses, all while dealing with the narcissistic father's extremely high expectations, would make anyone willing to let their morals loosen to succeed. I leave this judgment up to you. Share your thoughts in the comments. But it's safe to say that Andrew's loose morals at the time certainly helped him achieve his financial breakthrough, which I think reinforced the idea that society, or pardon me, the Matrix, was set against him. Hear me out.
After 9 years, you know what I realized? Ignorance is bliss.
I think all of us can agree that swindling money from lonely men does not really match society's idea of an honest living. And if Andrew would care about this, he wouldn't be able to operate his cam business in this manipulative but also lucrative way. I'm not saying that Andrew necessarily broke any laws. I'm just saying that he chose to walk down a path most people would refer from because of their moral judgment, which I think became his idea of what breaking the system was really about. I'm making a stretch here with this argument, so take it for what it is. By ignoring conventional morality, Andrew could challenge the concept of good and bad like it was a fluid construct made up in the Matrix programming. And as the money started to roll in, Andrew was quick to spend it. It was time to let the world know he had finally become a somebody.
My name is Andrew Tate. I am kickboxing world champion. Because I'm so fucking cool, I actually have 2 world titles at 2 different weights. I'm the best in the world twice. This is a Range Rover Sport, and that is an Aston Martin V8 Vantage.
Tristan has later revealed in a podcast that they burnt their entire joint savings on these cars. So now they quickly needed to find a way to scale their business to keep up with the new spending habits. So instead of investing their time replying to messages, they needed to spend it recruiting new girls. Fast forward to April in 2015. They are now set up a dedicated webcam studio apartment in their hometown Luton in the UK, in which they started to recruit more girls. In the Vice documentary of Andrew Tate, a girl nicknamed Sally gets interviewed and claims to have worked for Andrew at the time and that she witnessed abuse and rape by Andrew in this apartment. But the documentary has also received a lot of backlash for being one-sided and failing to portray the criticism against Andrew from an unbiased perspective. However, Andrew Tate was arrested for suspicion of rape back in 2015, but later released as the investigation failed to prove anything. I think it's worth highlighting that the girls that worked for Andrew at the time also engaged in a sexual relationship with him, which from Andrew's side was a pure business strategy. He have later opened up in his webcam course saying that this was a necessary move to maintain the girls' loyalty towards him as the middleman.
You cannot get a girl to work for you you haven't fucked. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. You don't want a girl who's in it for money. You want a girl who's in it to be with you. So you meet a girl, you take her on dates, you fuck her, whatever. Then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always working. I have to do some traveling and you can't come. I want to bring you with me. And you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So you'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen. Come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. You, your bottom bitch, the new girl, you go out for fucking a nice dinner. Your bottom bitch is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your bottom bitch has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl. My first girl was so good, it was easy. My girl would sit there and go, oh my God, before this I was a waitress and it was shit, and now I do this, I make so much money, and the guys all love me and they adore me, and on my birthday they send me presents, martinis, 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 bang, threesome. Slam them both, the bottom bitch knows, this girl's like, okay, well I'll try it,
put both girls on camera together the first day, so the new girl could sit there and just sit with the other girl and get drunk. Give them a bottle of vodka, put on the fucking chatterbait, 100 tokens per shot. The guys will send loads of money to get the girls drunk, because guys like drunk girls. Girls will sit there, get drunk, have a great time. You say it's your new job now, you haven't go to work ever again. That's how you recruit girls. Do not recruit girls any other way.
My final conclusion on Andrew's case will come later in this series, so let's stay on track. The point here is that Andrew is now at the heartbeat of the Matrix, the justice system. He was now in direct contact with the police, or the agents of the Matrix, as he would probably refer it to as. The investigation took a long time. Andrew had to repeatedly prove his innocence, and according to him, he had to deal with case handlers who disliked everything about him, which probably reinforced his hate towards the Matrix. But the point of this video was not only to highlight what reinforced Andrew's hate towards the Matrix, it was to uncover where it all began. And in order to do that, we need to go back a bit to the year 1992. Andrew is 6 years old and spends his days playing chess in hopes of one day growing up to become like his father. Emery is currently working in the United States Air Force Intelligence Department, where he's a senior with 11.5 years of service and is very proud of his job. In the last episode we covered how Emery left the military this year to pursue chess full time. But this is actually not the full truth. Emery Tate Jr. left the military in April 1992, but not willingly. He got kicked out.
He refused to listen to one of his commanders about a recording on a tape. And my father was arguing with him about the translation of a certain word. My father believed it was slang for something else. Superior believed it was something else. They got into a personal beef. It developed over months and months and months of arguments about translations. And my dad ended up being told to sweep outside for 8 hours a day.
Dr. Daim also provided some context of this incident in his book, which I highly recommend to anyone interested in chess. And on page 22 he wrote the following. Superiors believed that Tate embellished intelligence and cited a personality disorder as the reason. Tate vehemently rejected this diagnosis. He became extremely bitter about the circumstances and disillusioned about the US military apparatus. Before Tate's controversial discharge, he was proud of his service, and one can tell from his military bearing that he had a sense of purpose. However, his unceremonious discharge in his final years soured him on the military apparatus. Andrew was only 6 years old at the time of his father's discharge, and one does not have to be a therapist to understand that this dramatic incident also left an impact on their family. And when I was talking about this with Daim, he mentioned that the Air Force separation was tragic for him, and he attributes it for breaking up the family. But now you might be thinking, why would Emery blame the military for breaking up his family? Well, it turns out, since Emery refused to sign under that he had a personality disorder, it meant that he would not receive his military pension.
They wanted to sign it because he admits fault. It's all your fault. You're wrong about everything. You're a psycho. He said, my sanity is not for sale. And I know that line because my mother used to scream all the time when we were broke in the house. You could have had money, Emery! My sanity's not for sale!
Emery's life is very much shaped by this incident. He'd been betrayed by his own team, the team he'd been working to defend for 11 years. And after his separation with the Air Force, Emery devoted himself fully to playing and teaching chess, which also meant he lived a very humble lifestyle, as chess did not pay very much. He considered taking legal action against the Air Force many times, but never did. Now, many years later, Emery calls Andrew seeking advice if he should sign the papers after all, as he found out that he could get back pay.
He called me and said, I've been principled for so long, and the way the world's turning and what American government's doing, and I might just sign it. I was like, well, Dad, the choice is yours. My dad agreed. He goes, look, I'm running out of time anyway. I'm running out of life. I taught you boys a lesson. Went to the military to try and sign it for the back pay. They declined it. He said, you're not crazy anymore.
Emery was certainly deeply hurt by this incident, and in August 2015 he wrote on his Facebook page, "The only real problem now is that the morons who forced my early retirement, stole my job and my body of work, these same shitheads, have officially fucked up the world. They could not stand the sight of a competent black man, so they fucked me. No condom. Now, turn on the world news and weep." 2 months later, in October 2015, Andrew is in full throttle scaling his webcam empire when his phone rang. He picks up the phone, receives the news that his father, Emery Tate Jr., had just passed away at 56 years old.
He died in battle as he should. He was a warrior his entire life, and he died at the chessboard. He was playing a tournament. It was his third game. He won his first two. He stood up to go bathroom, came out the bathroom holding his chest and said, someone call an ambulance. He collapsed. My father died with absolutely no money. He died with $12 in his pocket, and that was it. I've already told the story a few times about how I didn't manage to go to his funeral initially because I was working hard to support the family and trying my best to become a millionaire so my mother didn't have to work anymore, and I pulled it off. And he was buried in Alabama, so that's where my father is. Of course, he is still out there in one of the many variations of the universe looking down on me, and I know he's exceptionally proud of me, and that's important to me. That gives me the unlimited strength I need to fight against nearly any enemy on the planet.
You're proud of those boys, aren't you? Yeah, Andrew. Come here, look at the camera, boy.
I've always had an enemy. In my entire life, I was always fighting against something. Whether it was an opponent or even being broke, I was fighting against being poor. I've always lived life waking up every day feeling like I had an enemy at the gate. And that's the only way I feel comfortable. And now the new enemy is the Matrix and the New World Order.
Povetkin, the boxer, it was an interaction in his corner of the 11th round of a title fight for Povetkin in the early 2000s. And his corner was saying, do you miss your father? And you say, yes, Mr. Father. He goes, if you become champion, he lives forever. And he's right. If you become remarkable enough as a man, they talk about your origin story, which is your father. So it is my duty to my father to be the man I am. No one would be talking about my dad, maybe in chess circles, but no one would be talking about my dad in mainstream consciousness if I wasn't who I am. So I keep him alive.
Now listen to me. You believe in magic? Magic. Sometimes we can bring people that left us back. We can bring your father back tonight. You know why? Because they're going to talk about his son, the New World Champion. And when they talk about him, they're going to be thinking about his father.
I said, you can bring your father back.
So this is what's so important. He lives forever through me. Yeah. From a very, very young age, I just understood, and I don't know exactly where I got it from. I understood the world is a scam.
In the next episode, we continue Anders' journey towards financial freedom and recognition. And remember, we are now one step closer towards making the final conclusion to this series. Will Andrew Tate come out as the hero or the villain? You know exactly what to do to make sure you don't miss it.